Would you believe it today if someone came up to you and said that even if criminal activity was at an all-time low, residents and citizens with prior criminal history will be thrown into prison for simple misdemeanor crimes? Regardless of your prior belief, this is in fact true for the United States prison industrial complex. Even for those of you who have never committed a crime or even broken a law, this prison industrial complex still greatly affects you. You see, the government has contracts between private owned companies that are called private, that own prisons, so that the taxpayers basically pay these companies to construct prisons and to and basically hold criminals. This is known as the privatization of prisons. So if you are a taxpayer, then yes, your money is going towards these prisons. According to my research, America's incarceration rate rose in the 1980s because of Richard Nixon's war on drugs. However, there are many racial disparities with this war on drugs. In addition, district attorneys started demanding harsher sentences for simple crimes, such simple non-violent crimes such as drug possession. This greatly affects the incarceration rate. As you can see, the state prisons are greatly increasing because of the privatization of prisons. At the end of this speech, I hope you all are aware of the economic and social disparities from the prison industrial complex. The rehabilitation of American citizens will cost greatly amount, and the taxpayers will also have to considerably pay a large amount of money. To subdue the costs, the government hired private companies. The private companies are the Corrections Corporation of America and the GEO Group. These companies combined with a revenue of $2.5 billion. The number of people in prisons increased by 772% from the 1970s to 2009. This information was provided by David Bodie. Because judicial leniency and citizen reactions threaten the business of private corporations, millions of dollars has been spent on lobbying state officials and political candidates in an effort to induce harsher sentences. So basically, as you can see here, the citizens are pressuring politicians. And with this, the politicians are demanding that with crimes, there are harsher sentences. And this goes to the judicial system, which then creates the privatization of prisons. So now you have more prisons, a higher incarceration rate, and the cycle continues. In addition to this privatization of prisons, inmates are forced to work for pennies an hour. There's a minimum of 0.93 cents and a maximum of $4 per day. And the things that the inmates make in prisons are actually used in the U.S. military. So basically, it's almost like enslaved labor. Now that you have seen the economic issues from the prison industrial complex, let's move on to the social barriers. There are definitely racial disparities in the prison industrial complex. The prison industrial complex often targets people of poverty and people of color. Authorities are rarely sentencing citizens to prisons and ignoring the barriers that contribute to the poverty. Author Angela Davis stated that homelessness, unemployment, drug addiction, mental illness, and illiteracy are only the few problems that disappear from public view when humans are condemning with them are regulated to cages. So basically, if you throw someone in prison, then there is no mental illness, there is no unemployment, and there is no illiteracy. This, however, is very wrong. As you can see, C represents the number of men, C represents the college degree, HS represents the high school degree, and DO represents less than 12 years of school. As you can see, the rate of men who have less than 12 years of school is greatly increasing, and this percent is almost 35% of men with 12 years or less of school incarcerated. And the incarceration rate is greatly increasing. Some of the statistics provided by the judicial system, the U.S. Justice Department, are African Americans now constitute nearly 1 million of the total 2.3 million incarcerated population. African Americans are incarcerated at nearly 6 times the rate of whites. Inner city crime prompted by social and economic isolation. 35% of Black children grades 7 to 12 have been suspended or expelled at some time in their school, compared to 20% of Hispanics and whites. Now that you have seen the racial disparities and the economic issues associated with the industrial complex, I hope that you too will learn that there are many issues that can be solved. Is the prison industrial complex here in the United States the new form of slavery? Thank you.